Hi there, and hello from Mailchimp. Welcome to today's webinar, How to Get Your Email to the Inbox. My name is Mariana, and along with my teammate, Cody, we'll be your hosts for today.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. In today's webinar, we'll cover a variety of concepts around email deliverability. You can think of email deliverability as the foundation for a successful email marketing program. Every email you send gives you and your business more data to use in order to improve the next send.
One of the most critical steps for good deliverability is domain authentication. By the end of this session, you'll have a better understanding of three key things. What email deliverability is, how to pronounce that word too, am I right? And how you can improve it through our recommended best practices, and how to authenticate your domain with Mailchimp. Let's take a look at our agenda.
Absolutely. First, we'll introduce you to email deliverability and the variables that affect it. Next, we'll provide tips on how to improve your open rates and email engagement. And then we'll walk through the steps involved in domain authentication within Mailchimp. And finally, we'll wrap up with some best practices on starting an email deliverability strategy for your own business through the lens of our fictional example business, the Potted Planter.
After the webinar, be sure to keep your eyes on your inbox for a recording, as well as helpful resources in case you missed anything or if you want to rewatch today's content. Lastly, if you need any technical assistance during today's webinar, check out our guides and tutorials at mailchimp.com/help to search for help topics, get assistance from our chatbot, or connect with our support team.
Let's kick off today's tutorial by talking about the differences between email delivery and email deliverability. Email delivery occurs when an email is delivered to the correct email address and then is accepted by the recipient's server. If it's delivered, it doesn't necessarily mean it's made it to their inbox. It just means it didn't get rejected. Email deliverability is the likelihood that an email you send will successfully land in a contact's email inbox, not the spam folder or anywhere else.
In short, it's entirely possible to have good email delivery rates, but poor email deliverability. So that's why deliverability is super important, especially when you spend time designing beautiful branded emails that you want your audience to see. Getting to the inbox is one of the more misunderstood and ambiguous elements of sending great email marketing. So we're going to break it down for you right now. While deliverability can be a complex technical process, believe you me, it's a lot of stuff to figure out. There are key aspects that you do have control over for your own business.
Certainly. And the variables that will have the biggest impact getting your emails seen by your recipients are engagement and reputation. Engagement with your email marketing is typically measured by opens and clicks, as well as by purchases if you happen to run an e-commerce store.
These interactions are ways you can measure how interested your contacts are in hearing from you. You might be wondering how to increase your engagement with your audience, and it's really no secret formula, but it does take consistency and follow-through. Understanding who your audience is and what they're interested in is a first step, and you can use your contacts' interactions with your marketing and what you already know about them to create audience segments.
For example, you can sort your audience based on information you collected when they signed up, including where they signed up. We call this their sign-up source. Mailchimp's predicted demographics feature can help you smartly fill in blanks too. Once you create audience segments, you can send specific, personalized communications to add value.
If they're interested in what you have to say, they'll continue to open and engage with your emails. When users regularly engage with your emails, you know they value your content. Then there's reputation, which is like a score that you're assigned based on how users interact with the content that you send out.
Clicks and opens from an interested audience are a form of email engagement that contributes positively to your email sending reputation. A good reputation will improve your chances of reaching their inboxes.
On the other hand, if you have a high amount of spam complaints or unsubscribes, your emails might get stuck in a spam filter or could be blocked. So you might be wondering, what can I do to improve my deliverability in Mailchimp? You can build a strong sender reputation right from the start.
Email is a form of permission-based marketing, and Mailchimp does require express, verifiable consent in order to send emails to your contacts. Maintaining this permission from your audience is crucial to high engagement and good reputation. You can also deliver quality content. You'll want your emails to contain relevant information that your audience wants to see. Personalized content, like using merge tags to include a contact's first name in your email, helps to avoid spam filters as well as increase engagement. Build and manage your audience wisely.
Keep your audience up to date by removing contacts if they aren't regularly engaging with your content. In Mailchimp, you can archive contacts, which allows you to remove them from your audience while retaining their data. And this can help you reduce your monthly bill, improve your delivery rates, and avoid high volumes of bounces or unsubscribes. We also recommend that you send email from a custom domain you own, when possible, and not from a free domain like Gmail, Yahoo, or Hotmail.
Now, the primary limitation of an email address from a free service provider is that you don't own the domain. This keeps you from having control over that domain's record and delivery policies. We manage our custom domain through Google, too. They offer a service called Google Domains, where you can buy a custom domain, manage your email inbox, and connect to Google Workspace, making it easier to manage your brand or business. This is why we recommend that you purchase a domain.
When you send from your own domain, it can increase see? I can't even say it myself. Deliverability. And your emails will better represent your brand. As you can see, there are multiple steps that you can take to improve deliverability in Mailchimp. A key element that impacts deliverability is authenticating your domain. And that's why we're going to take the time to walk through it together in this portion of the webinar.
Domain authentication is a great place to start. Then you can add in our other recommendations to continue to improve deliverability over time. Authenticating your domain helps prove to your subscribers and their inboxes that you are who you say you are. It requires you to access your domain's records and add some specific information to them.
Good news though, if you purchase a domain through Mailchimp, authentication is set up automatically for you. If you have a domain of your own already, you definitely want to authenticate it. This way, Mailchimp will be permitted to display your domain's information in your email header, which can improve your delivery rates, build your sender reputation, and make your campaigns look more professional.
We want them to look professional, don't we? Authentication is a technical process that can sometimes be difficult to understand, but Mailchimp has built-in tools to make it easy to set up. Before we show you the authentication process in Mailchimp, we want to show you how to see if you're authenticated.
This can be an easy thing to miss when you first join Mailchimp and start sending email. You may not remember if you did this step or not. Here's how to check. Head to your inbox and look at a previous email that you've sent with Mailchimp.
Does your delivered email show on behalf of MailchimpApp.net or via MailchimpApp.net in the sender detail section? Here, for example, you can see an email sent from the business, The Potted Planter. Right below the sender's business name and email, you'll see that the email has been delivered through MailchimpApp.net. This tells us that the sender hasn't authenticated their domain yet. Once authentication is complete, you can see that the email is being sent directly from the domain name. In our case, the email has been delivered through our domain, thepottedplanterla.com.
If you haven't yet authenticated, here are 2 quick questions to ask yourself to make sure custom authentication is the right fit. Question 1. Is your Mailchimp from email address associated with your website domain? With our business, The Potted Planter, our emails come from amelia@thepottedplanterla.com rather than a public webmail address like gmail.com or hotmail.com. Question 2. Are you or the people who manage your email or website able to access and update the records for your domain? If you answered yes to both of these questions, we'd strongly recommend that you authenticate your custom domain. If you answered no, you can keep using Mailchimp's default authentication. And of course, if you're unsure, make sure to consult with someone on your team who handles IT.
Good advice. We'll now head into our Mailchimp account to show you how to set up custom domain authentication. Here we are on our home page. We'll start by clicking on Website in the navigation menu, and then the Domains option in the secondary menu, right here. This page is the hub for any domains you use with Mailchimp. Here, you'll see all the domains you've already sent email from, and the options to add or connect additional domains you own for use with email, websites, and landing pages.
Today, we're going to look at the email domain section. Next, to the pottedplanterla.com, you'll see this verified label. This is here because when we originally added this domain to our Mailchimp account, we were asked to verify via email that we owned it. And once we fully authenticate our domain, this label will instead say authenticated.
Let's go ahead and start the authentication process by selecting Start Authentication next to the domain we're working with. And then we'll walk through this checklist to guide us along. We'll first choose our email domain provider from this drop-down list. This will be the service that manages the records for your domain. Some common hosts are Google, GoDaddy, and HostGator. If you're not sure of your provider, check with someone on your team who sets up or manages your website or email. If you're using a domain provider that isn't on our list of available options, don't worry. You'll just want to select Other at the bottom of the list here. This will take you to instructions that help you locate the information you'll need to complete this process within your domain. Our provider for the Potted Planter website is Google Domains, so we'll pick that from this drop-down and then click Next. Excellent. In step 2, we'll go directly to the domains page in our Google account. We're going to pull up our Google account right now. We encourage you to open up a second screen and keep both screens open side by side through this process so you can see both your Mailchimp account and your domain provider's account. This will be helpful as you need to copy information from your Mailchimp account and paste it into your provider's site.
That said, we're only showing you one screen at a time so you can see exactly what we're doing. Now that we're logged in, you can see the Google Domains dashboard for our domain, thepottedplanterla.com. You may have more than one domain to choose from. We're on the My Domains page. And next, we'll click Manage next to the domain we want to authenticate. Then, choose DNS from the left navigation menu and go to the Custom Records section. Keep in mind, this process will look slightly different depending on who your provider is, and we're just using Google Domains as an example today.
Let's head back to Mailchimp. When we click Next, we're taken to step 3, which tells us to create CNAME records using information from Mailchimp and walks us through how to do this step by step. This part of the process does include a bit of copying and pasting. Note, again, if you have a different provider, you might see a different language here as we have customized the language for each domain provider. First, we'll go back to our Google Domains page, and here we'll be able to create a new record. Then, for the new record, we'll select CNAME in the Record Type dropdown.
Let's tab back to Mailchimp to check what we need to do next. All right, we'll copy the host name for CNAME1 and paste it over to that same field in our Google account. Great. Then let's head back to Mailchimp again. We'll copy the data for CNAME1 and paste it over. We'll then select Create New Record in Google Domains and select the type once again as CNAME. We're going to do the same exact process for CNAME2. First, we'll copy the host name and paste it in. Let's head back to Mailchimp now, and let's copy the data for CNAME2.
Wonderful. Okay, and now let's head back over to paste that information in. There we go. Let's be sure to save those changes by clicking Save here. It might look a little complicated, but if you follow along and complete the step-by-step process here with your unique records, it'll just take a few minutes to set up. Once we add the CNAME records into our domain provider, we're on to step 4.
Mailchimp will check and validate the records that we've added. This process can vary in length. It could take up to 48 hours. There's no need to wait around though. Like it says here, don't worry, grab a cup of coffee or a whole pot. We won't judge you. We'll email you when it's ready. You can also come back to this page and hit check status a few hours from now or the next day.
But, like we said, the processing time is different for each and every provider and can be up to 48 hours. You can also still send emails while waiting on the process to finish. And if there are any errors with the records, we'll send an email and tell you what needs to be fixed in order to proceed. We'll go ahead and click this check status button now. Once we validate your domain's authentication records and it's gone through successfully, you're all set.
You'll see a success message on this page. We'll send you an email to confirm as well. So you can now send through Mailchimp with even more confidence in the deliverability of your email marketing. And now that we've spent some time learning about deliverability, the variables that affect it, and the steps involved in domain authentication, let's talk through some best practices and tips to get you going on your own email deliverability strategy.
Great idea. Think of these tips as your guide to better deliverability. First up, authenticated custom domain. We just walked through the steps within the app to do this, but it's important to remember and complete within your own account. We understand that this can be complicated, and so let's put it this way. We have our own business called The Potted Planter, where we sell plants, ceramics, and other home and gardening goods. When we started out with our business, we were using a free Gmail account as our from address within Mailchimp, and our email was pottedplanter@gmail.com.
As we began to send campaigns, we were finding that some of our emails were ending up in our audience's spam folders instead of their inboxes, which is never ideal, and this could be for many reasons. There are some limitations with using an email address from a free service provider like Yahoo, Hotmail, or in our case, Gmail. The biggest obstacle is that we don't own the domain, so we don't have control over our delivery policies. This is where having an authenticated private domain can help. It greatly increases your chances of having strong deliverability. Oh my God, by the end of this webinar, I'll actually know how to pronounce this word.
Got it down. You got it down. Remember, a custom domain is one that you purchase and own, and it's often tied to a website. If you have a web domain, you can register an email inbox to it. That way, you can send and receive emails from that domain so they're branded to your business. For our business, we already had our website domain, thepottedplanterla.com. But we set up an email address to start sending from to amelia@thepottedplanterla.com. Next tip, be sure to maintain an engaged and clean audience. As we mentioned before, Mailchimp is a permission-based service, and we do require express, verifiable consent for you to market to your contacts, and this permission plays a big role in deliverability. You can use a variety of collection methods to gather new audience contacts.
Pop-up forms, which can offer a first purchase discount, are a popular choice. As a business, you'll want to make sure to never purchase third-party lists or add people to your audience without their explicit permission, and be sure to keep an up-to-date audience of contacts and to remove contacts if they haven't engaged with our content in a while. We have a tool in Mailchimp called archiving, which allows you to remove contacts from your audience, but retain their data without them being counted towards billing.
This can drastically help to improve your delivery rates, as well as avoid high volumes of bounces and unsubscribes. Our third tip, keep an eye on your email reports and your audience data. What happens in your audience after you press send? Sometimes emails can't be delivered to an email server for a variety of reasons, like formatting errors or bad audience data.
These are called hard bounces, and if you have too many of them, it can contribute to decreased engagement and a lower reputation. For this reason, it's important to ensure that you're receiving permission from all the contacts that join your audience and that you're following our best practices around compliance. And with the Potted Planter, we make it a habit to periodically take a look at our bounce rate. On your end, if you notice that you're consistently seeing a lot of bounces, you'll want to do an audit of how you're adding emails to your Mailchimp audience.
This brings us to our next step. Be mindful of cadence, content, and formatting, and be sure to stay on brand. You'll want the emails you're sending to be relevant to your audience and what they want to see from you. To do this, work to identify the aspects of your brand that resonate with your unique audience, and then develop your email marketing plan with that in mind. Using consistency with the content, tone, and design that's present across our website and social channels will help create a cohesive brand identity for our audience. This is likely to make subscribers more engaged, leading to a healthier audience and improved deliverability.
For cadence, if you said that you'd send out roughly 2 or 3 emails per month, don't overwhelm folks with daily digests. If you establish a regular cadence with your communication, long lapses will be jarring for your audience and could trigger a high volume of unsubscribes. When people sign up for the Potted Planter emails, we let them know what to expect. We send out 1 to 2 regular emails a month with tips and tricks for plant care.
We know our customers want to know about sales, so we make sure they're kept in the loop. This takes us to content and formatting. You'll want your emails to contain relevant information that your audience wants to see, but be aware of certain behaviors that could send your emails to the spam folder. Our top tips are to stay away from lots of exclamation points, as well as all caps in your subject line and content.
I love a good exclamation point. You know what I mean, Cody?
No, I know.
Try to leave out common trigger words that make your email seem gimmicky or spammy. Authentic, relevant content is the way to go. To help out, Mailchimp has a built-in tool called the Subject Line Helper, which checks to see whether your subject line follows our tips around best practices. And finally, we always recommend that you test. We say this a lot, but it's important to remember.
Absolutely. Subscriber engagement and deliverability can improve when you send your emails at the right time. Always preview and send test versions of an email to make sure everything looks great before sending to subscribers. Anytime we create a campaign for the Potted Planter, we're sure to send a test email to the rest of our team to review before sending out to our audience.
Getting extra eyes on our campaign and seeing how it appears across various devices is always helpful. And as a pro tip, if you're looking to do more and have a standard plan or higher, try A/B testing. These types of campaigns make it easy to try out different elements of an email so you can quickly determine what leads to higher levels of engagement. For example, we love testing out different subject lines to see what our audience responds best to.
Keeping these tips in mind will help you build a successful strategy to get your emails in front of as many subscribers as possible. And so, with all of these tips and best practices, we've wrapped up today's webinar. Just a quick reminder, stay tuned. You'll receive a recording of this tutorial in case you missed anything or want to go back again, as well as some follow-up resources. If you've enjoyed this webinar, we also have a variety of other ones available to help you use Mailchimp. Check out mailchimp.com/workshops for more information. Thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you at another webinar soon.
Thank you.
Bye.